What's up, goons? This is probably the most important video that I make of the year because this is the ways that you add or acquire players to your roster, which is pretty much the name of the game, right? And there's three ways we do it in LOG. We do it via waivers, free agency, and making trades. We're going to start with waivers because that's the most important. Every week after the weekend of football, after Monday Night Football, everybody in the league, all the franchises will make their waiver claims because it's your first chance to get new players and replace the shitty ones on your roster. And we use a blind bid waiver system. Real simple. You're going to start with $100 of fake money. That has to last you the whole year. You can trade with other franchises for money, but they're not always willing to do that. So just know you have that $100 to make it last the whole year. And on Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m., we process waivers, and that's where people are going to be bidding fake dollar amounts on players that they want to add to their roster. It's blind because they don't know what you're bidding and you don't know what they're bidding. You just got to make your best guess based on how much money you have, how much you like that player, how much demand you think there is for that player. Once you go through it a couple times, you'll get a better feel for how it works, but you never know what people are going to bid. We have our first waiver this next Wednesday, September 2nd. It's unique because it's probably the only time you're going to be able to add players without dropping anybody. It's also unique because we're just doing waivers only. In a normal NFL week, you would do waivers, and then right after that, we have free agency. This next Wednesday, we're just going to be grabbing those two players, dropping nobody probably, unless you want to grab more than two players. And then after that, there will be no free agency until we start the real season the following week, September 9th. Free agency, real simple. If you've done fantasy at all, you know how to do this. You just add and drop players. It's immediate, no bidding, no money, no order, just adding and dropping players. With any of this stuff, whether it's free agency, waivers, or trading, you got to make sure you're adhering to the roster limits, which is 18 maximum players. Anytime you try to perform a transaction where you go over 18 players, it will get rejected, and you'll wonder how come that didn't go through. It's probably because you tried to add too many people to your roster. Trading, you know how that works too. We're just swapping players, trading players in conference. All trades must be approved by me, the commissioner, and I will approve just about any trade as long as it's not clear collusion or cheating. And as long as I know about it. There's no mechanism, there's no text, there's no alert that tells me that you guys have agreed upon a trade. So when you do, make sure you send me a text and say, hey, commish, I'd like to push through this trade. And I'll say, okay, and I'll do that. And I'll go to the website and push through that trade. All right, waivers. You can do this online on the website, myfantasyleague.com, which you've seen so far. There are other My Fantasy League apps as well, but we use MFL Platinum, which you see right here. And in that app, whenever you want to add any players or look at players, you go to Manage Roster, and we're going to choose Blind Bid Waiver Request and kind of pretend like we're setting up for next week's first waiver claims. So click on Blind Bid Waiver Requests. It's going to take you to round one here. Just going to show you your balance, and you're going to say, I want to add a roster move to round one, and we'll talk about rounds in a second. Whenever you add a roster move, it's going to take you to this screen here. You're going to either search for the player that you want, if you know who that is, and make sure you spell it correctly. Or if you want to just kind of peruse the players and see who you might want to get, you can sort by average draft position, year-to-date points, what the computer is projecting them to get that week, which is not a guarantee, but it's their projection, or the average points that they've been scoring per week. Or you can go up to filter and filter by specific positions like tight end or kicker, whatever you want to do. In this case, I went with sorting by projected points for the week, and this is old information, so you can ignore it, but in this case, I chose Geno Smith, quarterback from Seattle. And it shows his player card here. You go, yep, that's the Geno Smith that I want. And you hit select player. And it's going to take you to the screen. And in every other week for the rest of the year, you're probably going to have to drop somebody to make room for Geno. But next week, like I said, we only have 16 players in our roster. We've got 2 more spots that we can fill. So I'm going to say drop nobody. Once you do that, it kind of gives you the summary here. I want to add Geno Smith. I'm going to drop nobody. And here's how much money I have. How much do I want to bid? In this case, I saved it at $7. So now it's going to show you in round one so far, we're adding Geno Smith for $7. That's our bid. That's our hope. If I wanted to, I could add more players to round one. But in this case, I want multiple players. And anytime I want multiple players, this is very important, I need to put them in separate rounds because let's say I want Miles Sanders as well. I put him in round 2 because I want to acquire him or have a chance to acquire him and Geno Smith at the same time because I'm trying to get 2 players. If I had put Miles Sanders underneath Geno Smith in the same round, what the computer does is it only gives you 1 player per round. So if you put them in the same round, Miles Sanders and Geno Smith, and I was the highest bidder on Geno Smith, it would give me Geno Smith, take my $7, and delete everything else that went on in round 1, because its job is to only give you one player per round. So since I want Miles Sanders, I put him in round 2, and my hope is that I'm the highest bidder on Geno, and I get him, and the highest bidder on Miles Sanders, and I get him. So if I want multiple players, use multiple rounds. You can do round 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to do. The only time you want to put multiple people in one round is if you want to create some kind of contingency plan, like just in case I don't get Geno, I'll put another quarterback underneath there for $6, like Jacoby Brissett. And if just in case I don't get Geno or Jacoby Brissett, I'll put Daniel Jones underneath there for $3. Whatever it might be, you're telling the computer, like, hey, if I don't get my first option or second option, maybe I'll get my third option. That way you have it all lined up where you're going to leave that round with at least one player. So that's the only time you want to put multiple players in a round. You're still only going to get one player, but you might want to have a contingency plan in case plan A doesn't work. It'll go on to plan B, C, etc., etc., etc. So that is how you set up your rounds. Again, if you want multiple players, you got to put them in different rounds. So here's round 1, Geno. Round 2, I put Miles Sanders for $3. Drop none for both of them because I have 2 spots to fill. If I wanted to, I could add a round 3, but in this case, we're not going to do it. So that's blind bid waiver request. If you have more information on that, or if you need more information on that, go to the website, ask me, ask other franchises, get those questions answered. Free agency is really easy. Go to the same spot, manage roster. This time you're going to add drop players. That's what free agency is. Here's an important thing that I think we ran into last year. When it's time for free agency, use the add drop. So if waivers have processed on a normal NFL week at Wednesday at 7 in the morning, use add drop to add players for free. Not just because they're free, but also if, let's just say the waivers process on a Wednesday at 7 a.m. and at 5 p.m. that night, instead of using the add drop, you hit a blind bid waiver request and you put in a waiver request for a player that can be picked up for free, the computer's going to think you want that waiver request to run next Wednesday at 7 a.m. In the meantime, all of us other savvy franchises want the same player. We're just going to pick him up for free. So if you're ever wondering, hey, I thought I tried to acquire that player first, it's because you tried to do a waiver request when you didn't need to, when all you had to do is do an add drop. So pay attention to that. So in this case, we're pretending that waivers are already processed, and we're going to add and drop some players. We do that here. Right now, it's not a free agency period, so you don't see the list of players, but it's just like what you saw for waivers. You can search the player, you can filter, you can sort by different stats, find the player you want, add them to your roster, and drop whoever you need to drop to make room for that player. Trading, go to the same spot, manage roster, propose new trade. You want to add the player that you're trying to get. You got to find the team that has that player. In this case, I'm trying to get Christian McCaffrey from Dom. And then I got to say, okay, to get that player, I will give up Devon Achane for Dom. And then I'm going to submit that trade offer. Now, if you're a good, savvy franchise, that's not where you leave it, because this app sucks, the website sucks, and people are busy. So if I want to actually make this trade happen, I'm going to text Dom and say, yo, I sent you a trade offer, please check it out. And if Dom's a good franchise, he'll say, okay, cool, and either accept it, counteroffer it, or reject it. But communicate in some way so that person's not left hanging wondering, did he get my trade offer or not? Don't be that person that leaves it hanging. And if you're someone that wants to get trades done, you got to communicate, and keep reminding people, because we're all busy and these apps and these websites aren't great. It's hard to see sometimes when someone's actually made you a trade offer. So my advice is communicate, and definitely trade. Trading is fun. It's a big part of fantasy football. All right, those are the 3 ways that we add players. If any of that was confusing, watch this video again. Reach out to me, reach out to other franchises, go to the website, go to the help center. But make sure you understand what this process is, and make sure you get your waiver claims in for next Wednesday, September 2nd. They process at 7 a.m., but you can start setting those up, I think, now. If you can't do it now, let me know, but you should be able to start making waiver claims now, and they will process next Wednesday, September 2nd at 7 a.m. Right after that will not be free agency like normal. It'll just be blank, and you can do waivers again for the first NFL week, and then after that, on September 9th, you can start adding players for free. All right, good luck.